For a person, it is difficult to see the unseen within, but it is much easier for him to see the visible outside. And therefore, if an extraneous support can take us towards that inner knowledge, that extraneous support becomes very useful. And the guru is that extraneous support, that external support. So, this guru who is visible and outside is extremely helpful to us because the invisible within is very difficult for us to relate to. What we can relate to is something which is visible and outside. And that is what the guru becomes. And we can see then that the guru handholds us and takes us there. Then what is it that the guru does? How does he dispel the darkness which results from the absence of this deeper knowledge? Sri Aurobindo says that the instruments of the guru are basically three: teaching, example, and influence.
Namaste. Welcome to Yes Talks. The session today is titled, Why Do We Need a Guru? The speaker today is Dr. Ramesh Bijlani, who is a prolific writer and an inspirational speaker. He loves to use the gift of communication that he has received from the divine for dispensing small doses of love and wisdom from the inexhaustible pharmacy of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Once a professor at AIIMS, New Delhi, Dr. Bijlani is now a spiritual seeker at Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi branch. Dr. Bijlani, sir, thank you so much for joining us today. Looking forward to the session, sir.
Thank you, Arunima. Let me start with Guru Vandana. Om Dhyanamoolam Gurormurti Pujamoolam Guru Padam Mantramoolam Gurorvakyam Mokshamoolam Guru Kripa. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As you can see, the topic is why do we need a guru? Which means we just have to see why we need. The fact that we need a guru is as if beyond doubt. Although for some people it may not be, but the assumption here is that at least to the speaker, he can assume that the guru is needed. We just have to examine why. The word guru is commonly said to have come from a combination of gu and ru, the roots in Sanskrit, which mean darkness and dispelling, respectively, which means the guru is one who dispels darkness. Darkness is synonymous with ignorance and light with knowledge. So the one who dispels darkness removes our ignorance, takes us from ignorance towards knowledge. Now, if that were the only function of a guru, won't the books be able to do it? Because the books also take us from ignorance to knowledge. But then here, the important thing is that this knowledge is not ordinary knowledge. This is knowledge with a difference. It is knowledge of not knowledge of the type that we get in ordinarily in schools and colleges, and which we can study even on our own from books, and the teacher may not be really necessary. This is a different type of knowledge. It is knowledge which does not really fall within the purview of our ordinary everyday experience. And therefore, we have a tendency to doubt it. We are not sure how to approach it. And the knowledge that we are talking about is obviously the deeper truths of existence, which generally start with self-inquiry, which means that the person himself is wanting to know who I really am at the deepest level. And then that search ultimately takes him towards the deeper truths of existence, who he really is and what he is is the same as the rest of the creation, animate and inanimate. How did it all begin? And what is the relationship of him as an individual with the rest of the creation, and what the purpose of human existence is, and so on and so forth. So these are things which then further grow from this realization, from this experiential knowledge. Now, this knowledge is of a different type, and therefore, some sort of hand holding is really necessary. And this is something which has been brought out very beautifully by Sri Aurobindo in the Synthesis of Yoga. And I'll read out a little from there. Here, Sri Aurobindo is explaining why it is difficult for us to uh, acquire this type of knowledge on our own. And he says that it is difficult for the egoistic consciousness to do this, that is uh, to acquire this type of knowledge at all at the beginning, which means that there may come a stage when the person may be able to wean himself off from the guru. And the guru does not really try to hold on to the disciple. But at the beginning, the egoistic consciousness makes it difficult for us to acquire that knowledge, to get to that knowledge. And this beginning could, in fact, be a very long beginning. And then he goes on to say, and if done at all, it is still difficult to do it perfectly and in every strand of our nature. If we try to do it with the help of our ordinary egoistic consciousness, then it cannot be and does not really encompass every strand of our nature. Then, he goes on to say why it is difficult at first and why it is difficult a little later. It is difficult at first because our egoistic habits of thought, of sensation, of feeling block up the avenues by which we can arrive at the perception that is needed. Now, because ordinarily, our ordinary experience is based on thought, on sensation and feelings and so on, and these act as stumbling blocks. These act as obstacles to the type of deeper knowledge that we are trying to acquire, because that does not match really the ordinary experiences which we acquire through these routes, like thought, sensation, and feeling. So this tends to, in fact, block that experiential knowledge. And why is it difficult afterwards? This is in the beginning. It is difficult because the surrender, the courage requisite in this path are not easy to the ego clouded soul. Because then the requirements for this, when one realizes, are actually not reading books, but what one needs is faith, surrender, and the courage, a certain type of courage. Now, that again does not come easily to the ego clouded soul. And what adds to the difficulty is that the divine loves us, it's trying to help us. But the divine's methods of giving us that knowledge are quite different from what our ego approves of or can easily understand. The divine working is not the working which the egoistic mind desires or approves, for it uses error in order to arrive at truth, suffering in order to arrive at bliss, imperfection in order to arrive at perfection. So this seems very strange to us, that we are being taken towards knowledge through errors, towards bliss through suffering, and towards perfection through imperfection. Now, what type of method is this of trying to learn anything? So the initial experiences may consist of errors and suffering and so on, and therefore the person cannot understand it. The ego cannot see where it is being led. After all, what is this path taking me towards? It revolts against the leading. It's being led by the divine through error and suffering, but the person, in fact, gets discouraged. He cannot see where he is being led. It revolts against the leading. This type of leading is not what I want, the ego says. It loses confidence, loses courage in both the method and the type of knowledge that he's trying to acquire. These failings would not really matter, for the divine guide within is not offended by our revolt, not discouraged by our want, or repelled by our weakness. He has the entire love of the mother and the entire patience of the teacher. So the divine does not mind, even if you revolt. But the way it comes in our ways, because by withdrawing our assent from the guidance, we say that we don't want this type of guidance, which is guiding us through error and suffering and so on. So when we refuse our approval of this method, the divine does not mind. But why it matters is because by withdrawing our assent from the guidance, now here there are some very carefully chosen words. Sri Aurobindo always chooses his words extremely carefully, but here it is really remarkable the way he has expressed this. But by withdrawing our assent from the guidance, we lose the consciousness, though not all the actuality, not in any case the eventuality of its benefit. So the process is going on, but because we withdraw our assent, what happens is that we lose the consciousness. Here, consciousness means awareness. We lose the awareness of what? The awareness of the fact that we are actually progressing. We are progressing through error and suffering. That awareness we lose. So we withdraw our assent for the method. We say, this method will not work. I don't like this method. And therefore, we are no longer aware of the progress that we are making. And although the divine is actually guiding us, the divine does not mind. The divine has, as Sri Aurobindo says, all the love of the mother and the patience of the teacher to deal with us. But what we lose is the awareness that this process is on. And though, here come those carefully chosen words, though not the actuality, which means we do not actually lose in actuality what is actually going on. The process does not suffer from it. We are not aware of it. We are not aware of it, but in actuality, the process is still going on. And then he adds something, again, very perceptive, not in any case, the eventual. So eventually we through this process. So actually the process is on. Eventually we'll get there, but we lose our awareness of it. And therefore, we lose our awareness of what? Of its benefit. We do not see the benefit of this type of a method, which we cannot understand with our egoistic consciousness, which is taking us towards this deeper knowledge through error and suffering. And that is why we find that it becomes necessary to actually have a guru. But then again, little later, Sri Aurobindo puts it extremely well, why that becomes very helpful. That becomes helpful because the man knows that this knowledge is within me. That one can accept that this knowledge is not coming from outside. It cannot come from books. The ultimate source of this knowledge is within me. But then I can't see it. And for a person, it is difficult to see the unseen within, but it is much easier for him to see the visible outside. And therefore, if an extraneous support can take us towards that inner knowledge, that extraneous support becomes very useful. And the guru is that extraneous support, that external support. So this guru who is visible and outside is extremely helpful to us because we cannot really put our faith in this process which is going on through something which is invisible within. So the invisible within is very difficult for us to relate to. What we can relate to is something which is visible and outside. And that is what the guru becomes. And we can see then that the guru handholds us and takes us there. And that's why that support is important. That support is so important and so important for just about everybody that even those who did not need this type of support have adopted a guru. Sri Aurobindo adopted a guru for a short period, Vishnu Bhaskar Lele. Swami Vivekananda had a guru in Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna himself had a guru, many gurus in fact, one of them was Totapuri. And even Sri Krishna and Rama, they also had their gurus. Guru Vashisht and Guru Sandipan and Rishi Ghore, they were the gurus for even the avatars. Even the avatars adopted gurus. So they all adopted these gurus to set the right example so that people do not feel that, well, I am special. Somehow I'll be an exception. I can do it on my own. So it was to set the right example that even those who did not need a guru adopted one. Now, what is it that the guru actually does? If the guru is not giving us the type of knowledge which is there in books and not giving it by the same method which we use for ordinary teaching of subjects like science and maths and so on, then what is it that the guru does? How does he dispel the darkness which results from the absence of this deeper knowledge? Sri Aurobindo says that the instruments of the Guru are basically three: teaching, example, and influence. Teaching, which is in fact the least important of the three, does not consist of didactic teaching. What it consists of is basically awakening the knowledge which is within the disciple. So the Guru lights that spark. The Guru awakens us to that knowledge which resides within. And while doing that, the Guru guards against mechanizing the process. That is, giving us a set method by which it can be done. So, which means the instructions are not detailed. It is not detailed instructions about what we should be doing and how we can do it. In fact, it is just lighting that spark and then helping us discover what is within. But then this teaching is the least important part of the instruments of the Guru. More example than teaching is example. More important than teaching is example. Now, again, example can be misunderstood. Example here does not mean that watching the Guru closely and then imitating everything. If the Guru gets up at 4 in the morning, I'll also get up at 4 in the morning. What time does the Guru take a bath? What does he do after getting up? What does he eat at breakfast? What time does he do his asanas and pranayamas? What time does he meditate? So we find out the timetable of the Guru and start imitating it. And we say we are following the Guru's example. That is not what is meant. By example, what is meant is that the disciple should be able to perceive how the realization of the Guru leads to a certain inner state in the Guru, and how this inner state is reflected in the activities of the Guru. So it is that what sets the example. And not exactly what he is doing, and then we start copying the outer details of what he is doing. It is the Guru is at a high level of realization. He has that knowledge which we are seeking. Realization basically means knowledge becoming real. It becomes real when we have experienced it. The Guru has experienced it. He has already been there. Now this realization has given him a certain inner state which doesn't have the type of limitations which the ordinary mind has. It knows everything. It can do everything. It has that sort of an inner state, and it is always at peace. So this type of an inner state, how does it get reflected in the activities of the Guru? That is what sets an example for us. Even more important than the example is the influence of the Guru. Now, what does this influence mean? This influence means something very subtle. The Guru, and in the Guru's presence, we feel energized. In the Guru's presence, we we've experienced profound peace. Because the Guru is pouring the light and the power of the divine consciousness into all those around the Guru if they are receptive. So depending upon the receptivity of the disciple is experiencing this power, this love, this light which the Guru is radiating around him. So that the Guru can do without saying a word. The Guru could be just sitting there, he could be around, and sometimes not even geographically sitting there physically in front of you, because the Guru's presence itself can be very subtle. And the disciple gets that subtle influence of the power and the light being poured into him, infusing him with a light and power which can take him towards the realization himself. But then what does the Guru have to do? What are the expectations? Sorry, what does the disciple have to do? What are the expectations from the Guru? The Guru is using these three instruments: teaching, example, and influence. But what does the disciple have to do? One place where it has been put very simply is the Gita in the 4th chapter in the shloka number 34. And the Gita has pointed out that the disciple can acquire the knowledge from the Guru through three things: pranipatena, pariprashnena, and sevaya. Now, pranipatena is worship. Actually, it's prostration, prostrating at the feet of the Guru, which Sri Aurobindo has, within brackets translated as worship. So worshipping the Guru. Then pariprashnena, asking questions, putting questions to the Guru, inquiring. And sevaya, service, serving the Guru. So these are the principal tools which the disciple can use to get the maximum from the Guru: worship, questioning, and service. Another question which is commonly asked is, uh, does the Guru select the disciple or does the disciple select the Guru? Now, this can be very difficult actually to answer definitively, but the general feeling is that actually the Guru selects the disciple, but lets the Guru have this illusion, have this feeling that I did it. Because, our egoistic personality is satisfied if we feel that we went around and made a selection. But in fact, the Guru probably picks up the disciple long before the disciple knows it. The disciple is undergoing some sort of a preparation, and when that preparation is complete, then the Guru somehow appears in some miraculous way. He makes himself available to the disciple. So the Guru has already picked up the disciple. The Guru is eager to get more and more. But there are gurus who adopt somewhat different methods, and there are disciples who are crafted in different ways. And therefore, each guru is probably helping in certain individuals who probably have brought the appropriate sanskaras, appropriate preparation from previous lives, who need a particular type of path, and therefore this is the type of guru who will suit them, and then the guru picks that disciple up. For example, some of the things that I mentioned while talking about the teaching example and influence, etc., of the guru, particularly the teaching part, is something which is somewhat revolutionary in character. And the guru not giving any details, the guru just only lighting the spark, and the guru not really expecting that his life will be imitated in minute details, and so on and so forth. And the guru will not give any set method for practicing this yoga or walking on the spiritual path. Now, these are things which are typically Sri Aurobindo and the mothers. These are typically the teachings of the integral yoga. Now, that suits a certain type of people. People who want something more cut and dry, they will need another type of guru. So the guru is sort of picking up that particular disciple who's getting crafted in a particular way, and will therefore find that particular guru suitable, and he's up. There's a story in Autobiography of a Yogi by Swami Yogananda Paramahansa. There was a boy who was drowning at the age of about 5, and then he's rescued by a figure that he could see when he was being rescued in a sort of a vision, and that looked like an Indian saint, so in saffron robes and all that. So this person feels that this is the person who has rescued me. Maybe he was going through some sort of a near-death experience, and in that experience, then when he came out, he felt that, well, I was rescued by this type of a person. Then what happened was, another 10 or 15 years later, Swami Vivekananda visited the US, and this boy, now he was around 20, he saw Swami Vivekananda on the road, and this boy was with his mother at that time. He told me, see, this is the saint who had saved me when I was drowning. So they followed him. And this boy went and told him that you had saved me when I was drowning. I want you to be my guru. I want to adopt you as my guru. Now, what did Swami Vivekananda say? He said that, well, I'm not your guru. Your guru will come later, and he will give you a silver cup. So he was disappointed, but then anyway, he said that I have to obey what this person is saying. If he's my guru, let me obey. And well, the guru will come later. Let me see. Now, what happened was that another 20 years or so passed, and he heard a talk by Swami Yogananda Paramahansa. And he felt, well, this person seems to be the person who will be my guru. So he went and asked him, please, I want you to be my guru. And Swami Yogananda agreed. So now, what about the silver cup? So this boy thought maybe, well, that was not meant literally. Uh, Having a guru is something very precious. Silver is a precious metal. So now that the guru has adopted me, he has given me something even more precious than silver. So I don't have to worry about the silver cup. But then a few years later, Swami Yogananda Paramahansa made a trip to India, and he was going back around Christmas time, and he went back with Christmas gifts for all his disciples. And when he started distributing those gifts, what did this person get who had been saved in his childhood, he thought, by Swami Vivekananda, and who had told him that I will not be your guru, and your guru will come later, and he'll give you a silver cup. What gift this person got from Swami Yogananda Paramahansa when he returned from India as a Christmas gift was a silver cup. Amazing stories. No? Now, if it was coming from somebody ordinary, you might even dis authenticity. But coming from of the stature of Swami Yogananda Paramahansa, you know that it is a true story. And in fact, there are so many incredible tales like that in that book that you feel that, well, we understand so little of the way the world runs. And my story is not that dramatic, but if I may share it with you on this Guru Purnima day, I was reading religious and spiritual literature since childhood. One of the landmarks was probably Thus Spake the Buddha, a small little pocket book which my uncle presented me when I was just about 12. And I took deep interest in all such books, and that went on for years. I learned from a lot from all the books that I read, whether they were religious or spiritual, no matter who the master was who had written them. I learned a lot from them. I admired them, and I felt that, well, all this knowledge will help me as continuous reminders, because we need this type of reminders all the time. So that's why this reading regularly is important. So reading this type of thing regularly every morning, and this will help me live an ethically sound life. So, basically, the approach was mental, that I'm getting some knowledge from all these books, and if I put it into action, I'll be living an ethically sound life. That is what it was confined to. But I never felt the attraction or the pull towards any of them as a guru. That devotion element did not enter. Maybe I was using a bit of it also in my work, uh, in this working in the spirit of karma yoga, but it was primarily more as an ethical guideline that these inputs, regular inputs, were probably helping me. And then came 1992. I was going through a difficult phase of life, and all that I had read till then through all this religious and spiritual literature seemed to be inadequate for dealing with that situation. It failed me. And when you are in that type of state, your resistance breaks down. Resistance to what? Resistance to going to a place of worship or to an ashram or places like that. In general, I didn't go. I felt reading the books is enough. I did not like going to such places because I had all types of prejudices that these places will be dirty, there'll be big crowds, there'll be a lot of hypocrisy, there'll be rituals and ceremonies rather than the real stuff being talked about. What do these rituals and all mean? They mean nothing. Mechanical repetition of things which you do not understand. It is important. Just what is important is to be truthful, sincere, hardworking, and so on and so forth. So that is what I'm learning from these books, and that is enough. I don't need all this stuff. I'll not go to any such place. Even when I went to a temple, when you go to on sightseeing, you do visit temples, churches, and so on. I went to them to admire the architecture rather than with a sense of devotion. But then, when you are going through a difficult phase of life and all that you've learned fails you, your resistance breaks down. And that is when what happened was that on a Sunday morning, I saw the newspaper and it said in the daily events column that there's a satsang at Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi branch at 10 in the morning. So I thought, well, let me go there. Maybe I'll get some peace of mind. And I went. Now, may look like a coincidence, but then how is it that on that particular Sunday, I saw the newspaper so early in the morning that there was enough time to reach the ashram at 10 And then I quickly developed this motivation and this will without any questions, without the type of doubts and prejudices that about visiting such places. Let me go. And I came and I was in for a surprise. There were no big crowds. There was no ritual. There was no ceremony. And what was being talked about was spirituality, not religion. So all these prejudices were gone. And I felt that this place seems nice. I can come to this place. And I discovered that the satsangs were not only that Sunday, the satsangs were every Sunday. I started coming almost every Sunday. And then I started reading Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. And I found that Sri Aurobindo was something else. All that I had read earlier seemed only like a preparation. So, in fact, the disciple was getting prepared. And when he felt that the preparation is reasonably adequate, he just called me. So, the Guru knows when to call the disciple. And then, because I went in that state, devotion came a little more easily, particularly because the difficulties with which I went, they started getting easier. And further, when I read Sri Aurobindo, particularly essays on the Gita, what I discovered was something very apparently very simple, but something which becomes a very potent, infallible prescription for dealing with all stressful situations. And what was that? That my happiness does not have to depend on external circumstances. Because it is external circumstances which are giving you all the suffering and misery most of the time, all the stress. But then the real source of happiness is within you. And if you depend upon that, you find that your happiness can be completely independent of external circumstances. So the result was that not only I discovered peace of mind, but also a generalizable handle for dealing with all stressful situations. And in fact, uh, Sri Aurobindo once he knew that now the disciple is ready, let me get him. He also gave me the right circumstances for quickly sort of following up on it. I got an opportunity to go on deputation to Nepal for 2 years, and I went there alone without the family. So that gave me 2 years of solitude, which I could use for more reading than usual and more reflection. And the result was that I developed through that a sense of devotion. So the devotion came from both the uh, finding that what Sri Aurobindo said was something so deep uh, and so revolutionary in character that it suited me, and it seemed that this is something which is entirely different, entirely uh, far ahead of anything that I have read so far. And so it was partly that intellectual sort of, you can say, input, or you can say a humbling experience at the intellectual level on one hand, and on the other, the problems getting easier and getting it this generalizable handle. That is what created that sense of devotion. So when I went to Nepal for 2 years without the family, all alone, it was to me also a sort of an escape from external circumstances. So at least for 2 years, I'll be away from this situation. But then when I was coming back after 2 years, I had no fear that I'm going back to the same situation which I had escaped. There was no fear. Why? Because within these 2 years, I had got that generalizable handle that my happiness does not have to depend on external circumstances. And therefore, I came back completely fearless and bold that now I can face anything in life. Now, that is what the Guru does to you. Now, there is a little delicate question which Dilip Kumar Roy, one of the most intellectually developed disciples of Sri Aurobindo, put to him. And he asked him very politely that you, of course, are a completely self realized soul, but all gurus may not be. So, does the spiritual capacity of the guru really matter? And what Sri Aurobindo told him was that no, it really does not matter because the guru is only a channel. The guru is a channel for conveying the influence of the divine to the disciple. So it is not the guru's force that is working, it is the force of the divine itself that is working on the disciple. Guru is only a channel for doing it, and therefore it really does not matter. But what is important is that the guru should be the one who is capable of doing it. That is all what is important. And for that, the spiritual capacity is not so important. What is important is the sincerity of the intention. And this is becoming now somewhat more and more important because uh, Gurudom and spirituality are big business today. And therefore, sometimes it becomes difficult to make out a genuine guru from someone who is only posing as a guru. Now, some of the external guidelines which can help is that if the guru is seeking more and more disciples, now you'll see that the guru, in any case, picks up a disciple. So, what is the harm in seeking disciples? Now, the two are different things. One is that a disciple who has been crafted in a particular way will be suitable for a particular guru, and therefore that match has already been made, and at the right moment, the guru appears for the disciple. That is one thing. The other is concentrating on the quantity, the numbers. Now, that could be one thing which could be. Then, what is it that the guru is seeking through this large number of disciples? Is he looking for wealth? If not wealth, is he looking for name and fame, some power and prestige? If he's looking for any of these things which an ordinary man may look for from other pursuits, then for this person, Gurudom is just as much of a way of pursuing these ordinary goals as for others when they are doing it through some other types of business. So that is not what he should be seeking. But then on the positive side, what can help us realize the guru, I mean, being genuine, is that the guru, as we talked, that the guru works more through influence than through example and word. So this influence the disciple should be able to feel. The a peaceful presence, the energizing character. Now, this energizing character you can understand at a much lower level also, because uh, when you are with the people who are at a higher level of consciousness, they may not be spiritual masters or gurus, but they are nice people and they match your level of consciousness. You feel energized. You are giving energy to each other. You feel uh, as if it is in some way helping you enjoy the company. You feel more energized. On the other hand, if you are with people who are living more at the egoistic level, more at the physical vital level, in terms of Sri Aurobindo, uh, seeking primarily physical comforts and uh, petty satisfactions through fleeting pleasures. If you are with such people, you find as if your energy is getting drained. Now, when it comes to the guru, in his presence, that energy that you feel you are getting and the peace that you are getting, which is difficult to explain or rationalize, how that peace is coming and how you are feeling energized, that's what makes you feel that, yes, this is a genuine guru. And then, the guru, genuine guru, will not make the disciple permanently dependent on him, because if the knowledge resides within, the guru will be actually happy to see the disciple moving to a stage where where the disciple can access this deeper knowledge within on his own. And in fact, that is what you might see in many of the Upanishadic tales happens, that contact with the disciple is very brief. The guru gives a little instructions and he goes and goes deeper, concentrates within, using those two primary tools which Elder Huxley has summarized very well: intense concentration and extreme degrees of self purification. So, that is the type of method the disciple goes and uses for several years and then comes back. This is what I have discovered. Is that what real knowledge is? And then the guru tell him, yes, you are getting there, but there's something more. Go back again. That is the type of story sometimes you find in some Upanishads. So, the gurus have not really that way uh, given that. And when the disciple is finally there, then the guru tells him that now you are there, you can continue on your own. And that is what Vishnu Bhaskar Lele also did to Sri Aurobindo, gave him a little instructions for going into silence And Sri Aurobindo reached that state of inner silence within 3 days, which people may not reach in a lifetime. So when that happened, Vishnu Bhaskar Lele weaned him off and sort of left him on his own. He said, told him that whatever you heard during that state of silence is your mantra, and you don't need me anymore. So that is what a genuine guru does. So basically, the guru is a channel, and the guru can do it because the guru has already been there. He has been through the journey which the disciple is just beginning. And therefore, even through the uh, ups and downs, the vagaries, the pitfalls of the process, you saw the divine can guide you through error and through suffering, and you feel what sort of method is this for acquiring knowledge. So when that happens, the guru can provide that reassurance. No, this is what happens because the guru has gone through it, and therefore he knows that this is how the divine works, and therefore you get that assurance. One gets support, one gets guidance, one feels that presence, one feels a sense of security, and one feels that one can always turn to someone one can relate to. And that is what the guru is there to provide, that assurance, that certitude, and that constant presence and availability in a human form. And eventually, of course, it's the divine who is acting through the guru, using the guru as a channel. And that is what the Gita says, that in whomsoever somebody's faith is there, I actually fix it there, so that the faith becomes unshakable. The person does not go around doing spiritual shopping. So in whomsoever a person develops a faith, Sri Krishna says, I fix it there, because eventually it is me who is acting, but let the disciple feel that, well, this is my guru, and use the guru as a channel. So the divine does not mind it. The divine is all giving, sends that power and force to the extent the disciple can handle and is receptive to through the guru. Why I'm saying what the guru is, what the disciple is ready for is because, again, uh, too much of light can dazzle rather than reveal. And therefore, what the disciple is ready for comes, and when he's ready for more, more light comes, so that he's able to see more and more rather than get dazzled by it. I'll end with the little from Sri Aurobindo again. In the synthesis of yoga, in this chapter, the 4 aids. What are those 4 aids? 4 aids on the path of yoga. One of them is the guru. The other 3 are shastra, that is the written scriptures, which give us knowledge, but in a different way as compared to the guru. The shastra and utsaha. Utsaha, enthusiastic effort on the part of the disciple. When it comes to the guru-disciple relationship, that effort has these 3 components, as we saw: worship, questioning, and service. But then there can be a lot more, which we call sadhana or personal effort on the spiritual path, but that should be enthusiastic. So that's why Sri Aurobindo has perhaps used the word utsaha rather than just prayas or prayatn. It's used the word utsaha, which is not just effort, but enthusiastic effort, which means you should really have that urge, that burning aspiration, that fire of aspiration. That is what is important. So that is why he has used this word utsaha. And of course, the guru is there. But then the fourth one is, again, very practical and something which we should always keep in mind. That is kala. Kala here means time, which means that no matter what you do, you need time. So don't be in a hurry. Be patient. So the teacher has the patience. The divine has the patience, as we saw. This disciple also has to have that patience, because by being in a great hurry, one will not get there faster. In fact, the goal may recede further away. As you know, Kabir said in one of his couplets in a very simple way that if you water a plant too much, a seed which has been planted, if you give too much water, it will not make the plant grow faster or bigger. The plant is programmed to grow in a certain way. It will follow that program. In fact, too much water may, in fact, kill the plant. So in the same way, it takes time. So these are the 4 aids. Now, coming back to what Sri Aurobindo has talked about the guru here. And I can start with where he's talking about the influence of the guru. We saw the instruments of the guru are three: teaching, example, and influence. Influence is the most important of the three. So let me read that out. Influence is more important than example. Influence is not the outward authority of the teacher over his disciple, but the power of his contact, of his presence, of the nearness of his soul to the soul of another, infusing into it, even though in silence, he doesn't have to say anything further, even though in silence, that which he himself is and possesses. This is the supreme sign of the master. For the greatest master is much less a teacher than a presence, pouring the divine consciousness and its constituting light and power and purity and bliss into all who are receptive around him. And it shall also be a sign of the teacher of the integral yoga. So this particularly thing is important if the person is a teacher in integral yoga, and shall also be a sign of the teacher of the integral yoga that he does not arrogate to himself guruhood in a humanly vain and self-exalting spirit, which means he should not get arrogant. He should not try to uh, project himself as someone very special. So without that vain, arrogant, and self-exalting, that is what we may say loosely in today's terms, self-promoting spirit. So that the teacher should not be doing. It shall also be a sign of the teacher of the integral yoga that he does not arrogate to himself guruhood in a humanly vain and self-exalting spirit. And that is why probably Sri Aurobindo and the mothers, they did not pass on the baton to anyone. They are the gurus. In fact, the two gurus who are one, and everybody else is a disciple. That probably is a very safe policy. So it shall also be a sign of the teacher of the integral yoga that he does not arrogate to himself guruhood in a humanly vain and self-exalting spirit. His work, if he has one, which means that his work as a teacher, as a guide, if he has one, means if he has been provided the not only the talent and the ability, but also the opportunities to do it. That gives him that work. So if he has that work, he can do it. His work, if he has one, is a trust from above, which means has been entrusted from above by the divine to do a certain job. So just as a trust has been used in relation to wealth, that you are not the owner of your wealth, you are only a trustee. You have been entrusted with that wealth so that you will use it well, you'll share it with those who need it. So in the same way, you have been entrusted with a certain knowledge, with a certain wisdom, with a certain experience, so that you can share it. So it's something which has been given to you from above, from the divine, and you have been entrusted to use it for a particular type of work. If his work, if he has one, is a trust from above, he himself a channel, a vessel, or a representative. So he has been entrusted with it. The mother has also talked about it in words of long ago, that cerebral wealth or mental sort of wealth is just as much wealth as it is as money is. So just as you are a trustee of one, you're also a trustee of the other. You can use it, but with this full understanding that has come from a higher source. And I'm only, Sri Aurobindo has used 3 words here: a channel, a vessel, and or a representative. Channel, one can understand that it flows through me to the disciple. I'm only a conduit. A vessel, vessel contains something. It's a container. So just a container of the wisdom. The container itself is not what is within the container. He's only holding it. It has been put into him, poured into him from above, and he's a container, a vessel. And what is that vessel? The body and the mind. That's why sometimes we refer to the body-mind complex as a sort of a vessel. It contains something. So his work, if he has one, is a trust from above. He himself a channel, a vessel, or a representative of the divine. He's a man, now further elaboration of this. He's a man helping his brothers. So the others, the disciples, are not really very different from him. They are on the same path. So they are his brothers and sisters. And they are children of the same God. They are on the same path. They are there today where the teacher himself was some time back. If not in this life, maybe in a previous life, he was also there. And the disciple today will not only reach where the teacher is today, one day he may in fact exceed the capacity of the teacher. Because he has been put on the path. The degree of realization that he gets in this life is something which will depend upon so many factors. And therefore, he may get where the guru is. He may even go, not guru, I mean the teacher is, go even beyond where the teacher is. The teacher is not the same as a guru. That's why Sri Aurobindo has consciously used the word teacher. So he's a man helping his brothers, a child leading children, a child of the divine leading other children of the divine. The parents are the same, then you are brothers and sisters, no? So that's why the word brothers. He's a man helping his brothers, a child leading children, a light kindling other lights, an awakened soul awakening souls. He is awakened, he is awakening others, just as one candle can light other candles. At highest, that is the maximum that we can say, maximum credit that we can give to this person. At highest, a power or presence of the divine calling to him other powers of the divine. So that is what the teacher is, and that is what the guru is. And we have seen why everybody needs a guru. Stop here for any questions and comments.
Thank you so much, sir, for this enlightening session. So, participants, if anyone has a question or if anyone wants to share something, please go ahead. You can simply unmute yourself and speak up.
Very good lecture, sir. But can I know that can a book be also your guru?
Yes, in some traditions, yes, that is so. Particularly the Sikh tradition with which we are all familiar, the Guru Granth Sahib, that itself is treated as the guru. So if you have the same type of feelings which you have uh, towards the guru, the same attitude to the scripture, then that can be a guru. Because basically, you see, we need a physical object. Just a minute. This is a concession to our physical consciousness. We are primarily rooted in the physical. And therefore, something visible outside we can relate to much more easily than something invisible inside. As we said, something. Now, a scripture is also something at least which is visible outside. It's an object. And therefore, one can have the same attitude. Many people feel that it should have a human form, or at least it should have a form, say maybe the form of Ganesha or Hanuman. But many people find it easier to relate to a form, but it's not absolutely essential. So long as an object outside one and one has the same attitude, one can relate to it as a guru.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. In the chat box also, we have a similar question. Does guru has to be in a physical form? Yes, Sumit ji, you were saying something.
Yeah, my question was to sir, does a guru need to be in a physical form, or we can have gurus who are in a different forms across?
Well,
It
by
can
and
be in
large,
a
the guru,
different form.
the guru may not be physically present in the world today, but the guru has had a physical presence sometime or the other. So, in that sense, or at least we have a mental image of the guru. Now, Rama and Krishna, now they belong to a period where we may not actually know how they looked. Maybe the pictures that we have, mental pictures that we have, are more the imagination of an artist, say a famous artist like, many of the mental pictures that we have today are because of primarily one artist, Raja Ravi Verma. So he had a certain mental picture of Rama and Krishna, and we have developed the same type of picture. But at least we have a mental picture of Rama and Krishna. Those who are relatively more recent, like Sri Aurobindo and the mother, we actually have photographs available. So that gives you a mental picture. So the guru doesn't have to be physically present. And why that works is because the guru can appear to you in your visions, in your experiences, even when the guru is not there physically. And the influence of the guru, which is the most important out of the three instruments of the guru, outlasts the physical presence of the guru. How long it will last seems to depend upon the spiritual attainment of the guru. No, attainment is not achievement, because achievement is different from attainment. Attainment means on a journey where how far you have gone. That is attaining. Whereas achievement has a more worldly connotation. So on the spiritual path, there's no achievement, but attainment to a particular station can be there. So how far the guru went on that probably determines how long the influence will last. The attainment would be naturally maximum in case of an avatar who was the divine itself, but had, for certain reasons, assumed a human form. And therefore, you find that the influence of the avatars continues for thousands of years, even after they are not there anymore physically. Rama and Krishna, of course, are the two most worshipped avatars, perhaps in our Hindu tradition. But Sri Aurobindo is called the Buddha and Christ also avatars. And you can see that their influence also has lasted thousands of years. The most recent one among them, probably out of these four, is Christ. But then that's also more than 2000 years ago. So the influence still continues to be there.
So I have one extended question to this. So how do the person or the sadhak understand if the guru has selected the sadhak? What is that one thing which helps sadhaks to understand that he is going on the right path?
There are two different questions: going on the right path and whether he has selected the right guru. These are somewhat two different things, because even after selecting the guru, it does not guarantee that the person will be always following the right path. Uh, because the disciple may misunderstand, the disciple may not may not seek enough guidance from the guru. All these things can happen. There can so many sort of obstacles and pitfalls on the spiritual path. So selecting the guru is not a guarantee that the person will be on the right path.
Okay.
As you know, in school, the teacher is the same, but every student in the class does not progress at the same pace. And the same applies to the spiritual path. The same guru, many disciples, all of them will not progress in the same path, because some are following the path with greater sincerity than others, and some probably started at a level ahead of others because of the homework that had already done in previous lives. So all that matters. But the main question probably you were asking was that how does one make sure that I selected the right guru? Well, having selected a guru, probably the best thing is not to doubt. Don't try to evaluate and judge the guru. Uh, One should sort of feel that peaceful presence to start with. And if you felt that, then as they say in ordinary parlance, that the message is more important than the messenger. So the influence that the guru is conveying to you, if we can call it a message, that is more important than the guru that person has selected. And that's why Sri Aurobindo said the spiritual capacity of the guru is also not that important. So unless there is a sort of you have a clear evidence or clear sort of something so obvious that I made a mistake, I mistook him for a genuine guru, which actually he was not. Unless there's something very obvious which points in that direction, the best is not to try and judge and evaluate the guru.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, Akash asks, can someone have more than one guru? And the other question, can someone be a guru without realizing that he is a guru?
Well, I mean, whether the guru can realize that he's a guru is something which only a guru can answer to that question. Yeah. The first question was what? What was the first
Can
question?
someone have more than one guru?
Well, personally, I think that no, not really, not possible. Why? Because the guru is, apart from everything else, also has a certain personal bond with you. It's a personal relationship, an exclusive relationship. And uh, having more than one guru could perhaps disturb it. Sri Aurobindo and the mother are an exception in the sense that the two are as one. There are some other traditions also in which you have that, like say in Swami Vivekananda's tradition, Sri Ramakrishna, Sharadama, and Swami Vivekananda. There's a trinity. So they treat the three as one. That is different. But to have two independent, entirely independent gurus will probably hinder the development of that personal bond, that personal relationship.
Thank you, sir.
So this was a eye opener question of having two three gurus. So normally there is a conflicts in mind wherein you sort of get to know different kind of spiritual growth.
And one can
So
admire, one can admire many.
yeah.
Admiring many, learn from many, but that is not the same as adopting as a guru. And even after adopting a guru, one can continue to learn even from others, other spiritual teachers. One can continue learning from others. On that, there is no problem. But that personal bond which one develops with the guru, you have a mental picture, you turn to that picture within your mind when you have a difficulty, when you have a question, when you want to have a dialogue, when you are seeking love and support, you're not able to sleep, you are uh, visualizing yourself lying in the lap of that guru. Now, all that becomes so personal that that perhaps cannot happen with another guru.
So can it be described as if in a school you are learning English, you are learning geography and different kind of subjects, but then going forward after 10th you get mastery over mathematics. So you just focus on mathematics and you do accounting. This is what how it goes.
I see Vidya is smiling at the comparison because these two areas of knowledge are so wide apart. Uh, you know, what Sri Aurobindo has said, as the first principle of teaching that nothing can be taught applies actually exactly to the deeper truths of existence. The subjects which you were mentioning, which are taught in school and college, that knowledge is not innate. That has to come from outside. The only thing is that when we say that the teacher cannot teach even that, what we are trying to say is the teacher cannot teach it unless the student makes an effort, which means that the active participation of the student, the active effort on the part of the student is important. It's not the teacher who is teaching, it's primarily the student who is learning. But then the student is learning from outside. It's not the knowledge which is already within him. Now, when it comes to knowledge which is already within, then naturally our attitude and sort of analogies will break down very quickly if we try to apply the same analogies to this deeper knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
Shri
Sri Vidya
Vidya
has raised her hand.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Very beautiful and enlightening. I have a reflection. Uh, so I would say about 10 years back, like you had mentioned that the guru chooses the disciple, right? So when I was seeking something in terms of spirituality, I did find myself joining something aligned with Buddhism. And then I found that it didn't quite align with what I was seeking. And then I kind of fell out of that form of practice, so to speak. And I do meet people from that practice often because they're around. And there is always this, you left us type of statement that I get. Now, I'm just trying to see. And then, of course, I moved into the Aurobindo faith and the mother as the guru. When you talk of spiritual shopping, I'm just saying, what exactly has been, I mean, can you give me an interpretation of my journey? Because I'm trying to see what it is.
Well, I mean, first, when you said that you started with some Buddhist practices, they attracted you. I'm not sure whether you felt that same type of exclusive devotion to Lord Buddha. That is quite different from adopting some Buddhist practices, which are extremely popular these days, like, say, mindfulness, meditation, and so on. So that is not really adopting Lord Buddha as a guru. The second thing that you said, spiritual shopping. Spirituality is, as I said, big business. In the same way, spirituality is the in thing. It is something fashionable. Everybody is doing it, so let me also do it. When we do it in that spirit, then like anything else, you say, well, I'm doing it because everybody is doing it, but I want to go for the best. So then you start comparing, and you wait till you think that you found the best. Then that is a mental process which probably does not really apply here. What would apply more is uh, waiting for the guru at the right time. The guru will appear rather than uh, going around looking for many and then trying to select using some objective criteria. Right? Have a checklist, tick, tick, tick. So anyone for whom you can tick everything, then that is your guru. That is not the type of process which one can depend upon.
Okay, thank you so much. And as a disciple, how to strengthen discipleship, if I may use a term which I've never heard of before. But what is it that one can do? Because one does falter the way things are. That's human. That is the human. And you've mentioned a lot about it, actually, about all the things that we have to do. But just a little bit more on how to keep the faith very unshakable, how to be able to strengthen it.
The strengthening comes, I think, maximum through surrender. But everything, all the other major pillars of sadhana, they can contribute. The faith, trusting that all will be well, and having that trust that no matter what, the guru is always available to me. The guru will never betray me, will be always available. I can approach the guru anytime I want, and guidance will be available. So that trust. And then when you feel that the guidance has come from there, uh, accepting it fully without asking any questions. The way, Sri Aurobindo, once he started recognizing the voice of Sri Krishna in prison, he says that after that, whenever he uh, got a command in the same voice, he could recognize that voice, and he started obeying it without asking any questions. So whether he was told to go to Chandarnagar or to go to Pondicherry, he just did it because he was told in that voice to do it.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Participants, anyone else? Okay. So, yeah, the recording of today's session and all the Yes Talks that we have every Saturday evening are published on our YouTube channel, Yes Spirituality. Please do visit the channel, and you can explore extensive content on yoga, education, spirituality, and related subjects like psychology and wellness. And you can also join us on the social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much, Dr. Bijlani, sir. Once again, we are really grateful to learn from your deep wisdom. Thank you, participants, for being with us today. We close today's session now with a moment of peaceful silence. Namaste.